Hello, hello, hello. We are back reading manga. Starting with the latest stuff from Weekly Shonen Jump. We're going to read, I think, My Hero Academia first. Chapter 296. This one is called Hellish Hell. We have the big climactic battle of the previous arc. It looks like everyone is just going to beat a hasty retreat with no clear winner. They had managed to stop the villainous threat, but not before scores and scores and scores of devastation, buildings toppled, cities in ruins, and many lives lost. And it looks like maybe this chapter is just going to be kind of wallowing in that, really allowing that to sit in, which I appreciate. I think too often shonen series, in an effort to really kind of keep people's attention, will go from big battle to the next thing, like right away. I'm just petting my cat down here. And there really isn't a sense of the scale of what just happened because they're immediately trying to up the stakes again. So as I said before, I'd like to see some kind of more low-key arcs. I'd like to see some school arcs after this. And I think a good place to start is by just really letting this battle sit. In the aftermath, the frontline survivors and those who rushed to the front line, after completing their evacuation and rescue duties, here we see some pro heroes. Present Mike, the laundry hero, Mr. 13, the space hero with his vacuum quirk. We haven't seen much of him lately. Really cool design. The Nomu squad, of course, shepherding Shigaraki as they run away. All of them attacking. All join forces to stop Shigaraki from escaping. Really cool shot here. I love the scale of this. Just like so many attacks happening in so many different directions. And then this ominous like cloud of Nomu in the middle. Nomu, which will be referred to as near high ends. Which will be referred to is kind of strange to me. Like who is narrating this? Like who are they narrating to? Are we hearing like an excerpt of like a news report or an excerpt of like Deku's diary or something? At any rate, they're commanded to team up and execute distraction and disturbance strategies as they made trouble for the heroes. The 3 of the near high ends were brought down. Okay. 7 of them, along with Shigaraki and his people, managed to flee without a trace. Okay. I kind of like this too. They could have shown that in more detail. Like they could have had, chapters devoted to the stopping the escape. But again, it would kind of deflate the scale of the battle we'd just seen to make the stakes go lower, kind of. Like we know they're gonna get away. It's not super consequential if we take down a couple Nomu here and there. It just wouldn't have the same like impact as the fights that we're having before. So I kind of like this. Again, it just like really puts the scale on the huge climactic battle that we just had. Gigantomachia and Mr. Compress were apprehended. Okay, Gigantomachia down. I guess that is the big victory of this arc. Ooh, and the leader of the Meta Liberation Army, Destro, Redestro that is, brought down by Edge Shot. Okay, now that's a battle that I kind of wish they had shown. Because the stakes there are quite high, Hey, if you sit right there, I might run you over with the chair. What? What? Meow. Are you hungry? You get fed pretty soon. Not yet. This would have been a pretty good fight. Because Redestro, we've seen his potential before. We saw him as like kind of the central antagonist, I guess, of the villains versus Meta Liberation Army arc. But we don't really know Edge Shot that well. It would be a really cool like demonstration of how strong he is, seeing all of his abilities. Looks like he got pushed to the limit. A lot of other people down for the count too. Redestro, Geten, Trumpet, and other members of the the Paranormal Liberation Front in attendance at the assembly. So, I'm a little disappointed that Geten was taken down too. It looks like Geten was beaten mostly by Cementos, which is pretty interesting. All of these, like, BNHA... UA, sorry. BNHA is the series. The UA instructors, we sometimes kind of underestimate them, I think, or at least I do. Just because we see them around all the time. They don't seem so hype. But Cementos' power is actually, like, crazy strong. Getten I thought was interesting because sort of like Dabi, he was just this guy. It's like, oh, it's Iceman. He has the power of ice. Wow. But then you just start realizing like, oh, this guy's actually like insanely strong. Like that kind of realization that it's not just like a role player, not just like a mob, but like a strong character. It's kind of cool. So the fact that he got off screen is a little disappointing, but who knows? Who knows what is in the future for these characters? Also captured, in total, 16,929 individuals. Wow. They had a huge army. Oh my gosh. What? Is it just because I'm talking? So you think you can get fed? Oh, you want to appear in the video? You want to read manga with me? Yes? Okay. However, Gigantomachia's rampage allowed 132 of them to escape, including high-ranking advisors. Their bases scattered around the country were hit, too. The sympathizers were rounded up. This is the guy, during the first arc with the Metal Liberation Army. He was the hero that was telling other heroes, no, back off, it's okay, we don't have anything to worry about here. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. There's like a lot of like behind-the-scenes operations happening. This is just a gigantic simultaneous raid by all heroes on all known bases. Kind of cool. But again, it's like leaving it very ambiguous. Oh, we got most of them, so they're not going to be like a super relevant threat. But hey, there's still some out there, so if we want to, we can like play this card. We can reintroduce them to the story. Keeping their options open. It's got one of the Riku Agency's trainees. Apparently, Himiko Tona got away and should still be in the area. Yeah, so this was one of the more mysterious plot lines that just sort of fizzled out into the ether. And was sort of lost in the chaos of the big battle at the end. Toga versus Froppy and Oroksha? I can never think of her name. But yeah, that Toga managed to get away. And here we see just some scenes of devastation. This is pretty amazing. Some Endeavor kids. I don't want the pouch. Didn't you hear he abandoned his son? Endeavor is cancelled. No, this is a pretty moving scene. To suddenly kind of zoom in on something of this scale after talking about the incident as a whole with these big numbers and statistics. This is pretty powerful. Ah, there they are! Our girls. Endeavor pouch! This is nice. I like this very classic, very just genuine good heroics after an arc filled with moral ambiguity and betraying of trust and stuff. Really cute shot here in the middle right panel too. Great expressions. See, this is so spooky because we know Toga's on the run, and Toga's favorite trick is like, help! I'm like, whatever, I'm dying. Surprise! I'm here to stab you. So I don't know. It's like I'm suspicious. And yet, you know, it's nice because I'm suspicious, it's even more cathartic. It's even more nice to see the husband and wife embrace each other. That it was legit. There's still lives that can be saved. It's so good. Just all these background shots of heroes. Seeing the miscellaneous quirks of all these people being rescued too. Ooh, I can't take it. This is too much. Ooh. It's a reasonable response, and I'm really impressed with this. Just the tonal shift they're able to convey so quickly, but so compellingly that we're like, high stakes action, tension. Is Toga lurking? What can they do to save people? The heroics of each scene, to just suddenly recontextualizing it, that you're looking at the same wreckage, the same rubble, and it's like, yeah, this is bad. Like, yes, there are still lives that can be saved, but can you imagine the number of dead already? And there's actually corpses in this scene. I think there's a dead body in the foreground here, which is pretty rare for the series to just kind of have this sort of incidental death. Like, there's characters die as the result of big climaxes and arcs. But usually the incidents, the big fights and stuff don't have this much death in their wake. They usually kind of go out of their way to say, oh, we managed to evacuate the whole block or something, but not this time. Not this time. This is an amazing spread. Wow. How is this real? One of the dialogue says. Really amazing shot of Aruka as well. Just looking suddenly so lost. I need a new line of work. Oh! Shit. I think the X-rated hero Midnight is dead. Yeah, that's her, like, little thing. Shigaraki had truly died. His rebirth was cut short the moment the equipment was destroyed. That slight zap of electricity, which nearby X-less didn't even feel himself, wasn't enough to revive Shigaraki. No, what brought him back to life was his dream and his hatred. Okay, very interesting again. Just wondering, what is this narration conveying? Like, whose thoughts are these? Whose observations? Not that I'm, like, distrustful of it. But just, like, the bit of narrativizing that it hits us with is... it kind of conveys some sense of character. Oh, man. Oh, man, kitty. This is... Jeez. That's quite the shot. This kind of reminds me of, in Chainsaw Man. I guess this is a bit of spoilers. But, in the aftermath of a very horrific demon attack, they spent a lot of 2-page spreads. Hello. Just listing off fictional names of like, non-characters, of civilians, of just... the people who had died in this fictional attack. Which is, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about it because it appropriates a lot of the structure and the presentation of, real-world incidents, like in the aftermath of COVID, back when it was still novel and selling newspapers and stuff. I remember seeing a lot of newspapers that would print just large, huge lists of all the people who had passed away due to COVID. Or in natural disasters and stuff too, they really try to do this to emphasize not just a singular number, 6,000 people died or whatever, but showing here are all the individuals that died. Look at how long this list is. Look at how many times you have to turn the page. And I think they're kind of going for a similar thing here. Just showing all of these heroes in like a grid. I kind of like how the panels get subsequently smaller. It feels like it could go on infinitely, fractally, like you could just see, the sense of it goes on and on and on. The fact that they show these, like, charming pictures of them, too, kind of in the way that you might in an obituary, showing them at their best, showing them kind of how they presented themselves to the world. I don't know, like, is it making light of such real-world tragedies to kind of replicate our response to real-world tragedies in a fictional setting? I don't know. I suppose it could be argued, but I think it has a really nice effect, like, because it evokes this recollection, this association. And it's all to the purpose of, emotional conveyance. It's all to make you more emotionally moved by the story, and even though it is, a silly series about a superhero school and a world where everyone has superpowers, there's nothing saying that we can't become arbitrarily emotionally invested in it, that it can't really move us as much as anything else. Jeez. Here we see some people hanging out. I really like this bear guy, top left. That maybe totally sucks, but what's old Andy gonna do now? So we got some murmuring about heroes and stuff, which was, of course, Dabi's intent to kind of stir the pot with us. I really like the Zawazawas. Shoutouts to Fukumoto hitting us with the Zawazawa. Maybe this time it's all over. Let's move abroad. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you plan on going to America. I don't know what's happening in America in the world of this series, but yeah, Japan kind of seems like a little chaotic right now. Better have a statement ready about all this tomorrow. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be at the intensive care unit tomorrow. Think about it. We've got 5 weenies and those guys looking out for us. Okay. Meanwhile, the same night in the Super Ultra Max Security Prison, where All For One has been held, even though apparently he can use his quirk to manifest himself in the body of Shigaraki. Expectations were a bit off, but it won't be long now. Why do they assume tomorrow will come for them? No, I won't grant them a moment's rest, because it's my turn now, and my turn will never end. Hear me, my tireless Nomu. It's time to free my real body. Okay. I assume that's not going to happen right away, because, you know, your current body is not doing so hot. But I guess that'll be the next step of the villain's plan. Busting into the super prison, breaking out All For One. Also very exciting, because a little guy named Stain lives in there. Could be a cool way to reintroduce his character. Just prison break-in and break-out arcs, I think, are always fun, just because the prison has such a cohesive structure to it that really lends itself well to, you know, running around, encountering different obstacles, fighting different enemies. It would just make sense that there's a lot of, like, powerful heroes around and stuff, heroes that we might not get to see otherwise. Of course, I'm thinking of the One Piece Impel Down arc, which I think is just a phenomenal, like, 10 out of 10 arc. So, yeah, hopefully something of that tier. But before that, I would just like to go back to UA and have some shenanigans again. I miss that feeling of kind of lightheartedness in this series. And I think being able to alternate between those tones is one of its strengths. So we're due. We're due for some fun school hijinks training arcs, right? Right. See you then. Bye-bye.